Okay, so thank you all for joining again. So, like I said, if you have got any question from the last class, we've done at least we've gone through five of those 7 or 8 labs in the Azure Fundamental. Now, so if you have any question you want to ask me before we jump um, into what we have for today, we are going to be looking at the other three. I think it's 2 or 3 labs. So the last one we did was the service account, sorry, the storage account. So I'm just quickly going to take this away and let me, yep. So let me just get the link to what we have for today. Just quickly going to, apologies. I should have, at least this should have been something I should have, maybe I wasn't too prepared. Just give me a minute. I'm just quickly going to rush to this my playlist. Fundamental labs. That's fine. It's not gonna play. Don't worry. So we've got one. Yeah.
Don't upload your videos to YouTube.
Oh my word. So we will stop there. So we have 3 more to go. Um, we have 3 more to go. So I'm just quickly going to. So like I said, the links are actually within the.
Hi everyone, welcome again to.
Don't welcome them. So so the links are supposed to be within which you can get them from there though. You can get them from the Microsoft Learn environment, but I've referenced the link here also. So if you want to take a look at that, so I'm just in to take the links. I'm not playing the videos for you guys. We're going to look at the labs already. So let me just do the same for this guy. So I'll close this one. We don't need this one again. I've got the pricing calculator. Yep. This.
Hi everyone, you're welcome again to the.
Um, I'm so sorry. This one that I'm welcoming you. The videos are just playing on the background. Okay, I can just mute this guy. Yep. So that it doesn't shout on you guys again. Just give me a minute. I'm almost done with this. Yep. Okay, so we've got this now. So let's just take a look at everything that we have now. So we've got these 3 left. The first one is for us to talk about the pricing calculator. I've talked about the fact that one of the benefits of having or leveraging cloud computing is the fact that you can actually get the cost prediction. So it's predictability, one of the benefits, and under predictability, which is divided into two, we have the performance predictability and the cost predictability. Now, yeah, we are looking at the cost predictability. So there is actually a tool in Azure which is called the pricing calculator, which gives you an estimate of how much you're going to be spending, or being charged or be charged at the end of the day. So this is what we're going to be looking at, and these are just the basic requirements. This is just talking about the fact that, let's say you have this particular application running within your environment. You want to see how much it will cost you to run these. You know, so what we are going to be doing, I might not be running through all these steps, but I'm just going to drop the. Yes, I've actually shared. So this class is live on YouTube. Yes, is live on YouTube. If you see, I'm not uploading, but because it's live, it's also live on LinkedIn also. So because it's live, you always see it within the live environment. So if you click on live, this is it. So but it's also on on LinkedIn also. So this is the pricing TCO. Okay. The last one will be this one. We're just quickly going to look at this. So if you want to read that, that is fine. So like I said, what I'm trying to do now is just to check how much I'm going to be paying if I'm going to be running this particular workload on my Azure environment. So like I said, I'm not going to be going to these all these requirements here, so you can actually take a look at that. But the basic thing is the organization is trying to run this a web application, a .NET web application on the Azure environment or within the Azure environment. So they've got two virtual machines connected to a central load balancing, and these are what some of the things we need to do. So we need to have Azure virtual machine, application gateway, SQL. So we are going to be checking the pricing for all these. So what are we going to do? So we'll go to the pricing calculator, which is actually within. You can have that within your environment also. So you see how it looks like normal calculator, right? But so I'm going to put that on. Just going to be sharing this screen again. So we have the instruction on the left, and we've got the pricing calculator on the right. So you can log in if you want to save your estimate. So you can do this without even logging in. You can also log into, if there is a need for you to save your whatever you estimated at the end of the day. So for me, where are we going to? So we have these, which is what we are seeing. So let's start by adding those services. So you can see all those services. They have been listed here. So anything you want to do, you can just drop down, and you would see all the services under that particular category. But for now, I'm going to put it on popular. So here, this is what we're going to be looking at. We have three categories where, based on this description, this workload that we are trying to get their pricing for. So we have the compute, the database, and the networking. For the virtual machine, for the compute, SQL for the databases, and application gateway for the networking. So those three products that we are going to be looking at. Here, the good thing is all of them are popular. They are popular, or let's say virtual machine and SQL, they are popular services. So we don't need to start looking for those services within their category. We can just pick them from that bottom. So let's look at these. We're going to be picking the virtual machine first, which is the first thing. How much are we going to be paying for, if we have the virtual machine? Then once we're done with the virtual machine, we are going to do the same thing for the database, and the last one will be the application gateway. And let's see, how this is going to predict. Another way for you to do this is to try to or deploy that particular resource within your portal, and it's going to give you an estimate of how much you are going to be paying. But we can look at this now. We talked about the fact that depending on the resource you are deploying, that doesn't contribute only to how much you are going to be paying. There are some other factors like the location where you are deploying it, the region. Let's say if you deploy something in East US, the pricing might be different from what you've deployed in West US. But that doesn't mean you need to go and deploy, your application in Australia when your customers are actually in Africa. So you need to deploy applications very close to your customers. We'll start talking about that, and there are some other services that we're going to be looking at, like CDN and the likes when we get to the Azure administrator class. Now we have for the virtual machine. The first thing I'm going to do, like I said, you have your virtual machine here already, and you can also come here and click on compute. under here you're still going to see your virtual machine. So if I'm going to click this, and it's going to take me to where I have that estimate for the virtual machine. So I'm just going to follow this step by step. The region we are actually going to be selecting is going to be West US. So West US. Then operating system is Windows. Type is OS. Tier is standard, based on what we're trying to do. Category, that's fine. Then instance, we are changing this instance to D2 V3. So these ones, you do not need to worry yourself about all these jargons for now. There are a lot of here we have so many different series. We have so many instance type that you can actually select. It all depends on what you are trying to deploy. It all depends on what you are trying to work on. So all these there are some that are actually memory optimized. Maybe what you need more memory. There are some performance optimized. There are some. So all these series that you can see, they are just names of categories of virtual machines you can actually deploy within the environment. But the most common one is the D2 V3, which is like all purpose. So I'm just going to look for this one. That is D2 V3. Where is it? D2 V3. I'm not sure. It should be DSV3. Yep. No. V3. Really? So D2. Okay, I'm just gonna pick one now. Let me see which one. It's kind of close. Yeah, we can do this. Let me check this instance. Okay, I can put this one back to all. Then it will be easier for us to pick up the instance. So I'm just gonna pick the instance from here. So I'm just gonna pick D2 V3 version 3, which is fine. So you can see for here from here is 0.209 per hour, but that doesn't stop it. When we start adding some other things now, the price will start increasing. So virtual machine, we want 2 virtual machine. Now we have 1. I'm going to add additional 1 here. Then that's about the virtual machine, and you can see this is going to cost us $305. Then we are going to leave these other ones, just leave the remaining settings as their current value, which is fine. So the next thing for me is go look for SQL. So I go under databases and I select the Azure SQL database, which is this guy. So click on view. So we've got the virtual machine up there. You can see this is for the SQL. So let's fill it up. So same thing, West US, single database, the type, the backup, the purchase model is vCore, service tier is general purpose, compute tier is provisioned, hardware type, we have hardware type, so we leave that one the way it is. Instance, we change it to 8 vCore. Yep. So backup is array, GRS, which is fine, geo. We can, so we change this to, do we have the redundancy option? So let's leave it as it is. Then the last one is going to be, you can see this has actually changed to 1,500. If I change this back to maybe 2, it will be reduced. That's even 4. So I've changed this to 8V core, and that's why I have 1561. Then the next one for me is the application gateway, which I can get under the networking category. So application gateway, don't worry about those resource for now, but at least now for the application gateway, the region is going to be the same. Then the tier is web application firewall. We don't want the basic. The size is medium. Gateway hour is 2. Data processed, we want 1 terabyte. Then outbound, we want 5 GB, which is fine. You can see how much we have now. So you can see, based on what the company wants, this is how much they are going to be paying every month. So you can actually get that estimate, from the pricing calculator before you even start leveraging on the Azure environment. So you can have this exported, you can have it saved, or even share. But before you can save or share, you need to log in. But I can export this, maybe to an Excel sheet. Let's see. We're just going to export to an Excel sheet, and I can send that and say, oh, this is how much I'm going to be paying if I decide, to go with this. Let's see if I can share it here. Okay. But I can go to that just for you to see, what I've exported. Just give me a minute. This is still loading. So this one is not something that technical. It's just for you. So when you're making that decision, and this is where the FinOps comes in, when you're making that decision, when you don't need something, you don't need to add it. So if we are not processing up to 1 terabyte of data, why do we need to add 1 terabyte of data? So you just need to be sure of what you're trying to do. So this is how it's going to look like on Excel. So you can see how beautiful this is. The compute, we are leveraging on virtual machine. This is 2 virtual machines. Estimated cost. You can see no upfront cost. You don't need to pay, anything to start. You can just go in there and deploy, these. At the end of the day, you start paying, once you start leveraging those services. Now, same thing goes with the database, same thing goes with the networking. You can decide, people can deliberate on this. And the support type that has been selected is the basic support. You can see you're not paying anything for support. If you change this also, if I decide to change my support to maybe developer, you can see I'm going to start paying 29 per month. Or I want to change it to standard. This is how much I'm going to be paying. It will have an effect on the total cost also. And if you want this professional direct, you can see it also has. So if you do not need any of these things, there is no need for you to just add it and say, oh, okay, there's a lot of money in our company. We can just, we can just buy this. So it is what you need, that you should add. Yes, I'm sure.
Well,
Well,
thank you
thank
so
you so
much,
much,
Femi.
Femi.
As in,
As
this
in, this
actually
actually
makes
makes
sense
sense
because
because
I've
I've
seen
seen
something
something
like
like
this
this
before, and I
before, and I
was
was
wondering that
wondering that
how
how
do
do
Azure
Azure
cost
cost
comes in?
comes in.
So,
So,
what
what
I just
I
want
just
to
want to
understand. So,
understand. So,
what you're
what you're
saying
saying
now
now
is
is
this this
this
amount
amount
you
you
can
can
actually
actually
negotiate it,
negotiate it,
and
and
then
then
you'll be
you'll be
paying
paying
it
it
monthly,
monthly,
Abi.
Abi.
So,
Not
So
let's say,
let's
for
say, for
example,
example,
you
you
work
work
in
in
an
an
organization
organization
where
where
yeah.
you
you
have
have
different,
different,
maybe
maybe
different
different
products.
products.
So that
So that
means you
means you
can
can
have
have
Azure
Azure
costs
costs
for,
for,
let's
let's
say,
say,
maybe
maybe
your
your
different
different
units
unit
or
or
not. I
not.
just
I
want
just
to
want to
understand.
understand.
Yes, you can. So it's not about negotiating. It's just you trying to see how much you are going to be paying at the end of the month if you deploy any or leverage those services. So here, yes, you can do this. Maybe you have created a resource group, and that resource group is specifically created for a particular department, and you want to see how much that department will be using to run their workload. So you can use this Azure cost. So basically, what the Azure cost pricing calculator does is to give you an estimate of how much you are going to be paying if you are leveraging any cloud services within the Azure environment.
Okay. And then secondly, you mentioned one word now. I don't know if you can help explain better. FinOps. Because I heard it recently and I've been trying to understand what it means.
Those are the financial operation guys. So now, a lot of companies are actually looking for FinOps now, in the sense that, we being DevOps, CloudOps, our major or primary responsibility is, for us to deploy infrastructures, deploy application if it's actually DevOps. But for the FinOps, they are more concerned about the cost management within the organization. So imagine saving your organization, 600,000 every year in pounds. That will add to what they will be paying you guys in bonus. So we always need FinOps to cut down costs. So they work on, cost management within the organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it brings clarity because sorry, I don't know if it's I think it brings clarity. So I just want to understand because sorry, like I said, I just heard the word recently and I'm beginning to research into it. So if with my knowledge of maybe finance now, and then I know this cloud computing, you're saying that I can actually become a FinOps person, right?
You can, instead of, and that's why I said, you can be, you start with the fundamental, then you can actually digress to whatever you need to digress to. So if you want to become a DevOps engineer, if you want to become a FinOps engineer, so if you are more on the financial side, you can actually pick FinOps as, your next role within the cloud environment or the cloud space, and not worrying about all those technical jargons that DevOps engineer or cybersecurity engineer or cloud engineer will be worrying about.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I hope no other person, Sam. I'm so sure you are not even looking at FinOps, right? Don't try it. I know some people that are so interested in FinOps here. They have been researching for days, for years, just to get in there. All right, so that's that about the pricing calculator. Let's move ahead to. I'm just going to close this now. Let's look at.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, is there kind of script for this calculator as well?
You want to run script, TJ?
No, I'm just asking if there's script.
What's going on?
No, I'm just asking if there's script.
I've not seen any.
Okay.
Please,
Okay.
you want to run script again? Okay, so but there might be, but me, I've not actually leveraged on anyone. So this looks more like the pricing calculator also, but the only difference this has when compared to the pricing calculator is the fact that this is going to be comparing your workload. How much you're going to be paying if, let's say, you are running a particular application on your on-premises environment, and you want to run the same workload in Azure. You want to see how much you'll be paying in the course of 6 years, in the course of 5 years. So Azure will tell you, will predict how much you are going to be spending in 5 years time, and compared to what you are using to run that same application on your on-premises environment, you are going to be saving a lot. And before you start migrating your services to Azure, your services to the Microsoft environment, we want to give you an idea of how much you are going to be saving your organization if you take that both step. So this one says, let's say we have 50 virtual machines running on our on-premises environment, and we are looking at, oh, well, we want to cut cost, we want to stop managing these what's it again, that particular environment. We want to just stop our on-premises environment. We want to just migrate everything to the cloud. Then what you need is your TCO calculator, which is the total cost of ownership, which compares how much you're going to be spending if you are running those machines, those workload within your data center versus when you actually move to the cloud, to the Azure environment. So just like the pricing calculator, also you do not need to log in. You do not also need um, to have a subscription within your environment if if you want to sign in to be able to predict how much you're going to be spending. So I'm not going to be reading this out, but the major thing, I'm so sure you guys understand what we're trying to do, is just to check, if I move this workload that I'm currently running on my on-premises environment, if I move it to Azure, how much am I going to get? So here you can see it's kind of different. We do not have those categories, but we are going to be adding whatever workload we want to add, and you will see the report is going to be different also. It's going to compare what you have, and if you move, how much you're going to be saving, how much you're going to be paying. So here I'm just going to start by adding servers, because majorly we want to move 50 servers, 50 virtual machines. Then we'll add the second workload, which is Linux. Also, we have 50 VMs which are running Windows. We have 50 VMs also which are running Linux. We have storage, and this is the storage. So we want to see how much, you can see we have 3 years time frame, and the region is going to be North Europe. Like I said, depending on the location you are deploying your services, it's going to be different. So under the workload, the first thing I need to add is, remember, we want to add 50 virtual machine running Windows operating system. So I'm going to click on that. This is workload 1. Says we should name it server Windows. I'm going to just do the same thing. Here, yes, workload is Windows or Linux. Physical server environment should be virtual machines, not physical server. Then operating system is going to be Windows. Operating system licenses data center. For people that have actually worked with servers before, we have different operating system license, like the core, the data center, and the like. How many machines are we trying to run? This is going to be 50, so I'm going to be changing this to 50. Then virtualization Hyper-V. We'll talk about the fact that when you are deploying application, or when we were deploying application back in the days, I wasn't there though, because when I came, they started using VMware and like so. But when we were deploying application back in the days, we were using one particular server to deploy an application. It was wasting resources, cost, performance, and the likes. Then at some point, Microsoft came up with Hyper-V virtualization, where you can actually create virtual machines within that's your machine. So you can create multiple virtual machines instead of you buying or getting one particular server to run just one application. Now you can run multiple applications within one particular server. So now we're going to be still leveraging on that virtualization, and that's the same thing they are still using till now, to create all these things, because those are their machines in there. We are just running all these virtual machines we are going to be creating. We are creating it on a physical machine. Yeah, so there's still a lot of things happening. The core, we are going to be changing the core to 8. Then the RAM, I'm so sure you don't want to have 1 GB RAM on your machine. I know how frustrating it's going to be. So we are changing this to 16. So optimized by CPU. Most of the time, you can see whatever you are trying to add, it's like the same workload that's whatever you have within your data center is actually running. So your machines, you have 50 machines running Windows, and those machines are 16 gig RAM, each. So I'm going to add a second workload, and the second workload is going to be Linux, just the same way we have it here. That's workload 2. Pasting that. Then we have same thing, but this one I'm going to change it to Linux at this time. Then how many VMs do I want? These are not physical servers, these are virtual servers. Then I want 50 also. Hyper-V, same thing, 8 core CPU. Then RAM is going to still be 16, and that's fine. The next workload, nothing to explain, just just adding some random values that have been supplied to me. The last one, if you have databases you want to migrate also, you can actually do that. Then, but for now, we only have 50 servers running Windows, 50 servers running Linux. Then we have the storage, which is what I'm going to be adding now. For the storage, we have the LAN, HDD, not SSD. So we are still on HDD. Capacity, what's the capacity? We want 60 gig capacity, 60 terabytes. Then do we have any backup? Yes, we want 120 as the backup. That's fine. Then archive, we want it at 0. We don't want to archive anything. We just want the backup and the one working. Now under the networking, we want to set the outbound to 15. So outbound means data leaving our services or our resources. We want to set it to 15 TB. Then we need to change this to, I think this is, hold on, I want to be sure. Okay, I want to be sure that I'm not missing anything out. So click next.
It is not Europe.
Yeah, no, I want to check first. I think it's just for us to remember to make the adjustment to 3 years. No, I think it's after. Then we'll change it to just give me a minute, please. At the top, no, we have, yeah. So let me expand this. Yep, yeah, we are fine. Okay, so let's do not Europe. So we do next. So here, this is US. Then how long do we, what are we trying to do? It's going to tell you. Okay, I'm going to do this so that you can get the information. So here is just telling us, if you're leveraging on premises, how much you're going to be spending and the likes, and so cost. So this is going to tell you how much you're going to be spending on premises environment if you are running this for 5 years. We are going to change this to 3 years also. So it says we should change this to not zero. But if you are running this for a period of 5 years and you selected East US as the region, this is how much you are going to be paying over the cost of over 5 years. However, comparing these to on-premises, this is how much you are going to be paying. If you're going to be paying for 5 years, this is how much you're going to be paying in Azure. So 1,766 at the end of the day, and this is the total. So you can see here you've got no, what am I saying? This is total cost of on-premises. Yes, this is total cost of Azure. Yeah, this is total cost of Azure. This is total cost of your on-premises environment. It's breaking this down, and it's telling you some of the things that you don't need. Yes, when it comes to hardware, yes, this is what you get. You get this hardware, you get the software, electricity. All those things are not needed. The only thing you're going to be paying for is just going to be the compute. When it comes to sorry, under the compute, you're just paying for those machines you've actually created. But when it comes to hardware, software, you're not going to be paying anything. Compared to the data center, you don't need any data center because you are leveraging on Azure. At the end of the day, you can see how much you are going to be saving if you leverage on Azure, for the course of 5 years. Now we are told to reduce this to 3 years and select not Europe. Or yeah, not Europe. Let's see. Yes, not Europe for 3 years. So just give me a minute. Yep. So over the course of 3 years, if you select not Europe, this is how much you're going to be saving. This is how much you are going to spend if you are doing this for 3 years. While you're running your own. Do not forget, this is just an estimate. You can spend more than that. You can spend a little lesser, but it's going to be very close to what we have here, compared to how much you're going to be spending in Azure if you migrate your application or your workload to Azure. So you can see this is what the TCO does, which is different from the pricing calculator. The pricing calculator just gives you an estimate of how much you're going to be spending while leveraging those services, but this one is going to compare how much you're going to be spending on premises and how much. So this still goes back to the FinOps guys. They're still the one in charge to make that decision, saying, okay, this is how much we are going to be spending if we are leveraging this. And for those services, the workload that we've defined here actually have effect on how much we are actually seeing on the report. So you can never be wrong when you migrate your applications or your workload to the cloud, especially to Azure. Any question before we move to the last one?
Sorry, can we see the cost comparison for first year?
For what?
For the first year, if the time frame is 1 year.
If it's 1 year, surely you will still save, because why you are saving is the fact that here you are going to create a data center. You are going to buy the hardware, and the like. But in Azure, all you're doing is pay as you go. So if you come here, you would see majority of what is going to take your money is going to be the hardware. Like the hardware, the software, electricity. You have to network again. Storage and the likes, the IT labor. Okay, they are even putting that as the same, but you can see how much you're going to be paying when it comes to all this. But for this one, since you are just leveraging with the services within the Azure, you are only going to be paying whatever you've paying for whatever you have consumed. So, and one good thing about this Azure environment is the fact that you can even turn off those machines, deallocate them when you don't need them. You cannot take out your hardware. It's still going to be there. You still have to put in, even if you turn off some, you still need that AC to be running. You still need your electricity to be on, for others to be working, So you're going to be spending a lot. You can see majority of the thing that's going to take the money is going to come from compute, where you're going to be buying the hardware. This is the difference. You can see this is the difference.
Thank you.
All right, so for the last one, here we're going to talk about the resource log. I'm so sure we talked about this, before now, where I gave an example saying, let's say you have one newbie, joining or join the organization, and you actually have this workload, where you're running your production application, and this guy just goes there and say, what does this delete button does, you know, and he wants to see what the delete button does. It's possible, and he just click on delete, and Azure asks, do you really want to delete, and he says yes. That's nothing, you know I think I can recreate it. Someone has taught me how to. The team lead has taught me how to recreate, those resource, and you just go boom, and your workload is done, application is done, and the likes. It might not even be, the main workload running. It might be one service. It's just like, what is this one doing? Especially for the FinOps people, they are looking at, oh, okay, maybe we can save cost. Let's just remove this application, this particular workload. Maybe it's not even doing anything, and it just goes, boom. Like after you removing that application, and you and it just you're just there. So it's not me, oh. Sam. If you do that, yes, just delete it. But the good thing is you cannot even go through this process, and that's why we have so many technologies, or services within the Azure environment that still won't give you this permission. If you're a newbie, we are not even expected to have those high privilege permissions, except if the organization don't know what they are doing, except if you are the first person and they tell you to set up the environment. But normally, we will not even assign permissions to you first month, second month, because you just when you join a new organization, no matter how good you are, you will still be there for a while. That's why we have privileged identity management like PIM. If you want to elevate your access, and we'll ask you, why do you need these access and the likes. Why do you need the owner role? Why do you need global admin role and the likes? So we'll still get there. Yeah. So for this one, what we are trying to do is we are just trying to prevent unauthorized access, or changes to a particular resource, or it might be to a particular resource, it might be to all the resources within a particular resource group, it might be to all the resources within a particular subscription. So whatever you want to do, you can even add this under the management group. So here, what we are going to do is we are going to log onto the Azure environment. There's two resource logs that we can configure. I've explained these. We can do the delete, or the edit. So if you want to prevent people from making changes, you can actually create a resource log for that. And if you want to prevent people from deleting that particular resource, but they can make changes also. So you can do that also. So unfortunately for this one, the environment we have been using would not work. So we need like an Azure account. So you might have your free account. If you have created your student account, that's fine. I'm just going to be using my own Azure environment for this particular lab. So I'm going to be logging in to my environment. I've got so many. I hope I'm not asked for MFA. Okay, that's fine. So nothing really. All we need to do is just to create a resource. I've got so many resources in here, so I'm not going to be creating anyone. I'm just going to pick one of them. Yeah. So under the categories, storage. So I'm just going to look for storage. Okay, we can quickly create one. And enter. So sorry, let me just use one of these guys. I know, I'll create. Let's just create. So I'm gonna be creating one. So many things. I think I'm can see so many names. Yep, I hope. Okay, I've used this one the last time. Yep. So create a new one, enter a unique name. Location is default. I'm going to leave it as default. Performance is standard. Leaving it as standard. Then redundancy option, I'm changing that to locally redundant storage, which you guys understand, the differences. Then click on create. There are different tabs you can still go to, which is fine. We'll talk about the tag. We talked about the fact that how do you make sure that whatever information files you're saving within your storage account are not being accessed by maybe third party or even Microsoft customers, so there's a way we encrypt it. You can use your own key to encrypt. You can use the Microsoft encryption. We'll get there when we start our AZ104 in our class. So this is just it. I'm not going to be editing anything. I'm just going to be creating these now. So don't forget. So I'll wait for this resource to fully deploy. And once this is deployed, all I need to do is just to go to the lock, the menu, and go to lock. There are all those resources has this particular option. So like I said, you can decide to lock a particular resource. You can decide to lock resources within a particular resource group. You can also do this for a particular subscription, all those resources in there. So here for me, all I need to do is to go to the settings, which is here. I'm waiting for this to load. Under the settings, you're going to have logs. If you check your virtual machine also, you're going to see this here. So it's not just for, but the good thing about this fact is when you lock this particular machine, or sorry, this particular storage account, even the person that has locked it cannot make those changes, except that particular lock is deleted. So the lock doesn't just work with a specific permission saying, oh, okay, because I'm an owner of that subscription and I have global admin within the tenant, oh, this lock, it shouldn't affect me. No. So this applies to that particular resource, so we have two different ones. We have the read-only log and we have the delete log. Like I said, if you want that particular resource, you don't want anyone to make changes to that particular resource, then you have the read-only. And you do not want, when you leverage on the read-only, you cannot even delete that particular resource. But when you leverage on the delete, you can make changes on that particular resource, edit it and the likes, but you cannot delete it. But when you do the read only, you cannot even delete, so you can make changes, you can delete. So I'm going to have these as they said, enter a lock name. I'm going to have it as read only also, read only. Then verify the type of lock, which is read only. I can have a note to say lock type is set to read only. Let me just copy this guy here and decide to have a note. You can decide not to have a note depending on what you want. So here I've locked this guy. Now what I need to do, I can try to, okay, let me I've selected okay, so let me add like a new storage account, within that particular. So let's try to have like a container within the storage accounts. So let's see, let's hold on, because we've done the read only. We'll see what will happen. I don't know. So settings, yeah. So select a container, add a new container. Container name, I'm just going to give this random name, and I'm going to say test lock. Yeah, that's fine. And I try to create this, and it's just going to tell me fail to create a storage container test log because um, this following scope, which is this particular storage account, are locked. So there is no way you can actually make changes. Even if I try to delete this guy also, it's just going to give me that same error saying, you cannot delete because that particular you know this particular um, 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 storage is set to read only. Now, to prevent that, now let's move away from this. We want to be able to um, edit it, make changes, but we do not want anyone to be able to delete. So I'm going to go back to that particular lock and change that lock from that read only. So settings again, and edit this and change from read only, and I'd say log type is set to delete. Then I update this guy. You can see I can't update. I'm not sure I can update the name of the log, but you can delete that also. Delete and but now you can see if I try to create a new container now, I'm going to be able to create this guy because I've changed that from read only. So I'm going to say test log, and I'm going to be creating this. Now you can see I can successfully create this, but if I try to delete this particular storage account, I will not be able to delete this storage account. You can see it's going to point out the fact that this particular storage account has been locked. So you can see I can't even select the button. It shows cannot be deleted because the resource or its parent as as a delete log. Let's even see if we can delete one of the containers in there. I've never tried that, but let's see. So attempt to override the log. Delete log are configured on the resource. So okay, so I think if we only try to override it, but you can see if we try to delete, it still tells you that this particular container storage account has locked. So for us to be able to delete this, I need to go and delete the lock that I've actually created. So all I need to is go to the lock and delete it completely, and with that I would be able to delete that particular storage account and that I've created since I've removed the lock. So once I have that permission, maybe a storage account contributor or any other permission that I can use in managing a storage account, then I will be able to delete that particular storage account and all those containers within that particular storage account. Any question? All right, that brings us to the end of the Azure fundamental. I'm so sure where you guys started from is kind of different now. You guys have basic understanding of some of those services now that we have within the environment. As we continue on this particular journey, you guys will start having more understanding of those services. But something no you so the thing is, once you lock this particular resource, it affects all users that are trying. It is not user specific. It's actually based on that particular resource. Is resource specific, so regardless of the number of people trying to access, since you have the lock on there, yes, it's locked. Yes, TJ.
Okay, yeah. So concerning the TCO, right? We're able to compare the cost of physical deployment and deploying via Azure. So I was just thinking, I believe the competitors like GCP and AWS will also have such kind of
They do everything.
course, so that we can compare. Someone can compare. Okay, what's the cost from for AWS, the cost of Azure?
So you know
Yeah,
why you might not even be able to compare those things is the
yeah,
fact that those services sometimes they are different. So Azure might be offering a particular service, and Azure only offers a premium service of that particular resource. You understand? It doesn't do this basic or standard, and AWS does the basic. Do you understand? Except
yeah,
you're going to be selecting the premium. So you
yeah.
can also compare, yeah, for sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So, like I said, when we started from next class, those technical jargons will start reflecting. Now I'm taking you guys as if we are mates in this particular cloud journey. So, you will not hear anything about IT room or laptop. Those I'm going to be mentioning machines, VMs, you know. So just expect those technical jargons to start making sense now, So because we are now on the same level in this particular cloud journey. So the next one, I will implore everyone, before you start digressing, before you start saying, oh, I want to go into security, I want to go into. That's why I've arranged this class in a way that you start with the fundamental, and the next will now be the administrator. Then after then you can decide to say, okay, I want to become a FinOps, I want to become a security guy, I want to become a DevOps guy. Then you decide the path you want to follow. You can decide not to join. If we are on security and you are just interested in FinOps, you can decide not to join. If we are on DevOps and you are in FinOps, you decide not to join. Maybe next quarter I will just add FinOps course to this particular course. But now we have just 6 courses this year, and we are in June already. Oh my god. Okay, we still have 6 months though. But it doesn't mean you guys need to stay 6 months.
Kami,
Yeah.
is it
Is it
not
not
possible to
possible to
still
still
have the
have the
FinOps?
FinOps?
Just
Just
asking.
asking.
Maybe
Maybe
towards the
towards the
tail
tail
end of
end
the
of the
class.
class.
So I don't know. We have let's see if we are able to complete what we even have.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
and then
and
I
then I
just want
just
to
want to
ask.
ask.
So,
So,
has there
has there
been
been
an
an
incident
incident
where,
where,
because I'm
because I'm
just
just
thinking,
thinking,
for
for
the
the
advocation
advocation
for
for
going to
going to
cloud
cloud
instead
instead
of
of
on-site
on-site
computing,
computing,
right?
right?
Mm-hmm.
What
What
if
if
you
you
have a
have a
security
security
breach,
breach,
or
or
has there
has
been
there
an
been an
example
example
where,
where,
let's say,
let's say,
for
for
example, in
example,
your
in your
experience
experience
as a
as a
cloud
cloud
engineer,
engineer,
where
where
the
the
company you
company you
work
work
for,
for,
there was
there
a
was a
security
security
breach,
breach,
even
even
from
from
the
the
vendor's
vendor's
angle?
angle?
Is it
Security
Is it
possible?
possible?
Yeah, yeah. There are always security breaches. That's why you need to always make sure that whatever security recommendation, even Microsoft, they get security breach. So that's why whatever security recommendation for Microsoft, you need to just be implementing them. You need to add in your environment also. If there are security breaches, you just need to make sure you have the right skills to prevent that also, or remediate it. It will always come, and if you are the target, and that's why sometimes we do not compromise services within the or technologies that we leverage on within the organization. Some people might say, oh, why am I even inputting MFA every time? I don't like it. No, we won't do that. We want you to be safe. We want to make sure that there are no security breach, and the like. So if anything comes, that's why you need to have trained professionals within your organization to actually um, either secure your environment before there is a breach, or um, remediate once there is a breach. Yeah, Microsoft has actually, but Microsoft promised 99.99. That's 0.01. Boss, that's on the application level, on the Microsoft level. Yes, they promise the 99.9, but the 0.01, it all depends on you, because you also need to make sure that within your organization, Microsoft will not be the one to come in when you have like 22 global administrator and one of them has been compromised, and the person has access to the whole environment, and like TJ, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So I think the 99.9% is not even the guarantee on security, but guarantee on availability, if I'm correct.
But
Yeah.
Microsoft
So
also promise stiff security within the environment also. But like I said, everyone is, you are also your own security, because you need to make sure that within your organization, it's actually secured. And that's why Microsoft has been pushing out some update. Like now you can see all applications, not even Microsoft, they will tell you
mhm.
compulsory for you to use MFA within your organization. You understand? It's now compulsory to use MFA, because they believe that everybody should be using two-factor authentication and not just single-factor authentication. So a lot of things, a lot of update has been done to say, oh, okay, some customer says, oh, okay, we don't need MFA. Now Microsoft has made it so compulsory now that every users leveraging this Azure platform and some other platform related to Azure, you need to have MFA enabled. So there are some policies, like the Azure policy, that's it's actually from Microsoft environment. It's being pushed to all customers' environment by Microsoft, and there are some that are just tenant or organization specific. Those ones are the ones you are gonna. So Microsoft will not be the one to come into question when maybe there is a breach because you have a virtual machine you created with public IP address. Even Microsoft will advise you don't use public IP address in production environment. And you just feel like, okay, let me just deploy this, just once, and you get compromised. So you also need to be your own security. That's just a level to what we can do. Sam saying, is there a tool? I've not seen one. I'm so sure there will be a tool all over the internet where you can compare those service providers. You can compare their costing. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, just to say, for me, I'm particularly impressed that those hackers or whatever, despite their the level of security in the cloud space, they are still attempting to breach, to launch an attack, So I think, like you said, maybe they are just looking for breach or or gap from the point of the user, not necessarily from the part of the vendor, So yeah.
They've always been trying the vendors for sure. I could remember, I think this was like last 2 years or something, when Bet Ninja in Nigeria was breached for 5 days or something. Their application wasn't up. Do you understand? So if you bring in engineers, quack engineers, you pay the money. At the end of the day, you pay you pay with your you pay the professionals when the time comes. So let them continue with what they do. All right. In the absence of no other question, we'll be out for we'll be posting this for 2 weeks, and then we'll resume on the 14th of June.
So sorry, what course are we starting? The administrator, right?
Yeah, the administrator will be the next,
Okay.
which is the one of
Great. Thank you.
All right, so we are moving. I'm moving one after the other. I'm just going to stop sharing. Yes, Sam.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much. And thanks for, I think all of the pieces that you've shared towards the last, in the first five classes that we had, it makes sense when we had the last session in this sixth and seventh classes. looking at the practical, because all of those pieces, some of them were looking like, okay, let's just scrap the initial knowledge to me. And one thing I begin to ask myself is, so after now, especially looking at this particular one that we've just covered, which is I'm going back now to the training roadmap. On the training roadmap, so we've covered the AZ900.
Yep.
So with this knowledge, that means we're capable from taking that AZ900, the practice test, and the certification if we desire.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, all right.
Also, not just what we've done in class, but the focus.
Yeah.
Whatever you have done in class is actually the focus. For the exam also.
Okay. So after this class, for example, if I go through what the Microsoft Learn have, would that be enough for me to take the certification of that is it?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right. Thanks.
Yep.
Yes. Just to quickly ask, is there any kind of ebook for this particular, or is just whatever write-up is available on the Learn platform, or is
Just the
Learn?
Learn is enough.
Okay.
I don't like people jumping around. At the end of the day, you will learn nothing. Just the Learn. It's comprehensive enough. It's comprehensive enough. A lot of things. It's comprehensive enough. So you can see even here, you can take the practice. The practice assessment will not give you part of some of the stuff, but you can see what's going to be asked. You can see the study guide, stuff like that. Yeah. So whatever you have in here is enough. Can anyone still hear me?
Yes, Femi.
Okay.
I was going to say that, please, can you help us send all these links again?
Oh, okay.
So what I've done is I tried joining the Slack, but it says I need to register. So I might need to do it later.
Okay, I will drop it on the Slack. I will drop it for sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. Okay. See you guys in the next class. Bye.
Thank